During a commercial inspection in the comm shop, we inspect the cooking area. Now, not all commercial kitchens are commercial kitchens. We're not sitting here in a room with a giant stainless steel hood evacuating cooking grease and everything up through the roof. We're in probably a typical office space that you're going to get the opportunity to look at with great frequency. And this is a break room, otherwise known as the kitchen. And so by definition, we'll call this the cooking area. And so let's go through some of the things we're going to inspect. Now, if this was a large-scale industrial commercial kitchen, obviously we'd have a hood, we'd have exhaust, we'd have a fire suppression system, we'd have fire extinguishers that are a specific K-type that are within 30 foot. That's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about the kitchen and the office, the break room. And so while looking at that inspection, we're going to look at it just like you'd expect to look at. We're going to talk about the cabinetry, make sure it's solidly attached to the wall. We're going to talk about GFCI outlets, making sure they trip and reset. Especially they have to be within 6 foot. We're going to run the plumbing, make sure it's hot and cold are operated, make sure the drain is working. We have a certain appliance in here. We have a coffee maker, an espresso maker, we have an ice maker, a water machine, as well as a dishwasher. I'm only concerned with the dishwasher. The rest of these appliances sitting on the counter are just that. They're not permanently attached. The dishwasher is. And so with that, you can absolutely do what you're typically accustomed to doing, opening up the dishwasher, make sure the door hinge is still present, make sure it latches, make sure it closes. In this particular case, it has not been fastened to the countertop. And so I would definitely want to make a note that this washer is not properly fastened up here to the countertop. It's been left loose. I would turn it on and I would operate it through a normal quick wash cycle. By doing that now, then I can go off, do a few things. 20 minutes later, I'm going to come back to this dishwasher and make sure that it hasn't leaked all over the floor. Because that's really, at the end of the day, we're not going to verify that this washes dishes. I'm not putting a pot in it to wash the dishes. I'm just verifying that I turn it on and it produces water that doesn't leak all over the floor. While looking at the sink, I'm going to open up the sink, turn on the water. I've done a functional flow test during my plumbing inspection of the plumbing, but again here, I want to make sure I've got hot water. I'm going to make sure I have cold water. I'm going to come underneath and make sure my drain system looks okay, make sure I don't have anything leaking. Sometimes we'll have a garbage disposal in some buildings, sometimes you don't. This one does not have a garbage disposal, which is great. In a commercial setting, I don't recommend them because they're usually not maintained and they're probably clogged more times than not. I'll verify that. I'll verify this side. I'll run the sprayer, and that's almost the extent of the sink. I'll come over to the GFCI on this. This clock isn't working, so I don't necessarily have a fear of that. I'll test. Make sure that trips and resets. I'm not going to trip or reset these over here with the computers that are attached to these. Those scare me, and I'm afraid that I might do something to the appliance that I might otherwise do. So I'll make that determination that that's something that I'm not going to trip or reset. I take a picture of it and just say not tested during the inspection. You want to open up the cabinet doors, make sure they swing. Make sure they swing real well. Now, one of the things as you're looking at the cabinet doors that's really, really important is you want to make sure they're attached properly to the wall. When you look at a cabinet, at the screw of the cabinet door, you don't want to see a drywall screw or a small head screw. You want to see a very wide screw that's specifically a steel screw that's made for cabinetry. It typically is bigger, it has a little washer top on them, because a drywall screw or a small screw can snap off pretty easily if it's heavily racked with a lot of stored debris. So you always want to check the screws, make sure they're there, make sure they're not overdriven so that they're damaging the integrity of the back of the cabinet. And then that's really about all we're going to do in a break room / commercial kitchen, aside from that large industrial restaurant style kitchen. Always refer back to the standards and make sure you do a thorough job.